It's the guy doing things, and welcome back to another episode. It's a new year, same old me. We've been gone for a while, but we had a well-deserved rest, and hope you did too. This is actually a throwback to an old episode we did last year, and hope you enjoy it. We did it with Movember, South Africa. Awesome people. Great initiative. So enjoy this little throwback and look forward to this year. New challenges, new guests. It's gonna be awesome. This is episode 29 of The Guy Doing Things. Welcome to The Guy Doing Things, Garen Giselle from Movember. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, man. Good to be here.
Thanks for taking out the time. And I messaged you guys and you almost instantly messaged back, so it's really cool. I'm sitting in Pretoria and you're sitting in Rivonia. We're both sporting mustaches, so it's a pretty cool campaign. I love it. I love being part of it.
If you get called in a moustache after 11 days, I mean, mine's starting to take on a bit of shape, but I think because I had a moustache pre-Movember, my upper lip's a bit shy to start sporting a moustache.
Yeah, I think most of us, by the 11th day, it's not actually, you can't even call it a moustache yet. But to be honest, I'm going to say this publicly now. Me and my team of people who grew moustaches, we kind of cheated. We just shaved our beards and not the mustache. I know it's a cheat. I know. I'm going to get a lot of slack about it. But the thing with a big mustache is that people immediately notice it, and you can, from the 1st of November, you can start the conversation, and that's the cool part about it. So I think that's the biggest purpose about Movember, and we'll get to that now. But I know I cheated, so I feel ashamed.
Oh, look, the rules. I don't know if you know the history of Movember and how it came about back in 2003, and the infamous story that became almost an urban legend, which led me to participate in Movember. And it was always about two mates in a bar talking about things that had made a return, fashion icons, and the clothing dead, the hairstyles dead, but the moustache hadn't. And it was kind of a gentleman's challenge that they threw down to. Then it turned out to be about 34 mates, and they wanted to bring the moustache back into fashion. And at the time there wasn't a charity associated; it was just purely a bit of fun amongst mates, and they would see, to get dressed at the end of the month and celebrate the moustache. And one of the father's birthdays on the 27th of November, so that coincided with that. And that's why in the early days of November we always used to have gala parties where everyone got dressed up to suit their moustache, but as the charity has changed, as I suppose, as things happen with everything, fatigue sets in. We've changed a lot of how we do things and what we do, but we still all about the moustache primarily, and how to get people to change their faces and donate to the cause by simply changing their appearance.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So the original, it started in Australia.
A bar in Fitzroy in Melbourne.
Well, Australia seems like the perfect place for something like that to start. And then coming to South Africa, how did you guys start the Movember idea here in South Africa? And how did it take shape?
As I mentioned earlier, we just heard about this urban legend called Movember, and for the 30 days of the month of November, grow a moustache. And in 2007, when I grew my first moustache, and just was a bunch of fun with a bunch of mates. We got together at the end of the month, and there was a PowerPoint presentation to kind of showcase who had growth and how everyone had done. But it was a bit of fun between the friends, and it was challenging for me because having clients and going to go talk to them and getting the weird looks and knowing without what December was, prompted me to want to find out more, because it was something that I felt definitely got me engaged, and the type of commitment you get from someone donating their face to your cause is a deep type of commitment. But it's a type of commitment that we've needed to be able to firstly change the face of itself, but secondly, start these vital conversations that need to realize the risk factors that they're facing, not only with cancer, but also with mental health and depression.
Yeah, that's the most beneficial thing that I've actually got from Movember is the conversations that are started, and I really that's something that motivates me to continue doing it every year, and also having a challenge between friends. That's also a guy thing to do. Just have the challenge. Now I've always wondered when we do Movember, it's so cool, and we get the hype and the spike of interest in this month. What do you guys do outside of November? What does the charity do in the other 11 months?
So the Men's Foundation is what is the local beneficiary that Movember campaign. You know, me having worked directly for Movember up until 2015, when we agreed that we'd established the local foundation and local NPO, which is the Men's Foundation. But what we do, firstly, outside of Movember, you know, nobody wakes up on the 1st of November and decides to start growing a moustache. So a lot of the time outside of Movember, we're looking at other key health issues that are affecting men. So April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. With our role that we feel here in South Africa, with the amount of absent fathers and the impact that it's having on men from a mental health perspective, we do a campaign around Father's Day. So even though November is our flagship fundraising initiative, you know, it's an evergreen environment talking about men's health. You know, we've got other campaigns that we run throughout the year, but certainly November is the most profile for us. It's a global campaign where, you know, other men and other Mo sisters around the globe are supporting doing the same thing. You know, we over 6 million strong in the history of the amount of people supported in November in the 21 countries that have participated in. But also, you know, we spend a lot of time on the planning besides on planning on the campaign, but also looking at what those programs are we need to invest into and what we need to fund. You know, there's a lot of issues we need to address. We've already got our Project Peacock that's going at the Critters Care Hospital that we, you know, for us to continue funding existing programs and then continue growing into other programs, we obviously need to increase our fundraising base, and that is a challenge given the economic landscape that we're dealing in right now. So, you know, we've also had to change our fundraising strategy as an organization, that we need to start getting a lot more help from corporates. But as you know, the big challenge is men's health doesn't really prioritize on corporate lists. You know, women and children, elderly, all types of other things feature first, but, you know, men's health isn't seen as a priority. And particularly in the light of gender-based violence, men are actually very ostracized, and there's a big anti-men sentiment that's out there. Corporates are looking to give us a donation. They talk about giving a donation in kind as well to a organization that's associated with women. We're not suggesting that they don't, and it's not warranted. But, you know, the important thing is that there seems to be a guilt and shame around supporting men's health and supporting a charity that's supporting men's health for some reason. You know, even though dads and brothers and moms, or dad brothers and partners, you know, and husbands are dying, you know, it just doesn't seem to get the focus and the attention that it needs. So this is why we're so relevant, and it's important that we start these conversations we do every year around November. Yeah.
And that's what makes it so fun to be part of it. We know the difference that you guys are making, and we know how difficult it is to actually, you know, get into that landscape of fundraising, or the charity landscape. Obviously, specifically in South Africa, the charity landscape is also quite saturated. We have a bunch of issues to sort out, or that needs attention. But we love the work that you guys are doing, and I'm glad to hear that there are other campaigns throughout the year as well. That's awesome. And
I think also, if I could just add, one of the big challenges that there are for other charities out there is that they constantly knock on the same doors for the same donors. You know, we generally just once a year will come to our existing donor base and ask them for support. So outside of November, it's important for us to look at what other areas there are other people that can provide funding for the different areas of you know, the community and target market that's out there. We need to adapt.
And hopefully with these conversations, on these podcasts or on other conversations, other platforms, that base can grow, the funding base can grow. So you spoke about the role that women play and or the role that women play in the company. How do women actually help with the Movember campaign or with the men's health organization as well? How do they assist in this process?
So most sisters, as we call them, are very important to the campaign. They make up on average about 18 to 24% of our campaign every year.
That's awesome.
And they also realize, if you look at how most sisters and women have become, they're far more progressive in dealing with communicating about their health issues.
Yeah.
So like breast in particular, the Pink Ribbon has done so much for the cause of breast cancer that we know it's a global movement. What's interesting to note, people kind of associate Movember as the equivalent of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and the Pink Ribbon.
Yeah.
But the moustache is our ribbon and Movember is our month. But, to get back to your question, most sisters are very key because often they're the ones that are the ones making calls to the helplines because the men in their lives are not taking action towards their health.
Yeah.
And, it's exactly the reason that we often tend to think that if there's an issue, it will just go away, that we often leave it. We don't necessarily go and seek medical attention. But wives and moms, and especially with testicular cancer, which is the younger man's cancer, it's important for moms to know what the risk factors are for their sons.
Yeah.
So they can have those conversations and take note of any risk factors or indicators that would require, their sons being able to go for treatment or going for tests and those sorts of things. So most sisters are very key to our campaign. They're often the ones that are organizing the Mobros in the offices. They're ones that are running the supports, getting the guys to be a part of the campaign. It's never about growing a moustache for them, but it just shows you how you can support Movember. It's not just growing a mo. You can commit to move, you can commit to host or attend an event, or just simply make a donation to the organization or to whoever is committing to undertake to fund or to do something to the organization.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. I'm definitely going to campaign for a bunch of other ladies in my life to be part of this. And if someone is listening to the podcast who wants to be a Mo sister, please do it. Don't be shy. You spoke about conversations that we need to have and how the helpline works. How do we as a society get behind this project? If we're already growing a mustache, we're already donated, we already are moving, how do we get behind it further? Do we need more open conversations with other men in our life? How can society support this campaign even more?
The best thing about Movember is it's the type of charity that you can support by sitting on your couch on a Saturday watching sport.
Yeah.
So it's not meant to, it's really more about the conversations than, we one of our values, is humble. We're a fun campaign. We're accountable. We use technology. We're a team, and we're all about market experiences for our community.
Yeah.
But that's why, for us, it's about simplistic. It's simplicity because, we don't want you to go and do something that doesn't align to what you do.
Yeah.
If it's something that fits in with your repertoire and you support us, that's amazing. And it's just, again, it comes down to that conversation. The conversation that you had earlier about why you support Movember and that passion as to why you bring something to men's health is what a lot of people buy into.
Yeah.
And that's if there's any ask that I can have, is just simply have more conversations about what the need is for men, that are suffering out there, besides the prostate and testicular cancer, and especially coming out of, with COVID and men getting access to treatment has been a challenge.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are, mainly because people that are predisposed with cancer have avoided hospitals because of the risk factors. But particularly in the space of mental health, it's a lot about the conversations that men don't feel isolated, that they feel comfortable to have those peer-to-peer or what we call shoulder-to-shoulder conversations, the type of things that get men to realize that it's okay to not be okay. And simply to take action when it's not towards. So, if there's anything I can ask, is to simply have more conversations, but it's got to be real and authentic conversations.
Yes.
We don't want you to go out and force anything, because that's not who we are as a brand, and that's not who we are as a fundraising initiative. We're about real men going real no's, talking about real issues.
Yes.
So it's a key part of who we are. We certainly do need the funds. It's a lifeblood of our organization. We can't invest into the programs we do without donations. But for us, the awareness and education is even more important. When we're saving lives by someone going to the room talking about the fact that they're growing a massage for prostate cancer, and to get them to understand and communicate that pre-screening and early detection after the age of 45 or 40, if you've got a history of prostate cancer or breast cancer within your family, is very key, to make sure that you go for an annual checkup and to take action when you feel untoward. But mental health is also a very key factor that we need to address. There's 4 out of 5 suicides every day.
Yeah.
Then with an average of 18 men a day taking their lives in this country.
Sure.
It's a big problem, and this is my experience with in my personal circle of friends. If I look at how there's a shame around the stigma of mental health, the more we talk about it, the less of the stigma there is, the more men are going to feel comfortable to put their hands up and say, look, I need help. And, stop suffering in families.
I've seen that in these conversations, it kind of liberates other men to also start talking, and that's the key about this whole thing. So I loved your feedback and your time. I appreciate it so much. How can we, obviously we can go onto Instagram and hashtag Movember, put our photos on there. How do we also get in touch with the rest of the Movember campaign? How can people jump on this bandwagon for the rest of the November and also for the rest of the year?
So we always consider ourselves a family. So heading to Movember.com and signing up, it's part of the campaign. Yes, we're already over a week into growing a massage, but you can still support by committing to move. It's about lifestyle. So commit to, that doesn't need to just exist for the rest of the month of November.
Yeah.
You can simply make a donation to support somebody who is there. To head to the leaderboards and just see how there's ways to take part or support, or to simply make a donation for the organization.
Great. Thanks so much, Garen, and thank you for your time. And I hope that the mustache ends up well. I'm looking forward to getting the photos.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, look, it's my 11th official rodeo in on this campaign.
Awesome.
So, I think the moustache has become me. When I don't have one, people look at me and they don't always recognize me. So, onward and upwards. And there's lots of things that we need to look at changing and provide support to men. So we can't do it without support from guys like yourselves. So, really humbled and grateful for what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Garen, and thanks for your time once again. And we'll chat soon. Thanks.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
That concludes episode 29, and although it's the wrong month, we still got it out there. As we mentioned, it's a year-long thing, so continue to support them, the Movember cause, and be sure to get your mustaches ready if you're a man for this November. And we'll catch you on the 30th episode right after this. Have a good one, have a good year, and may all your resolutions be done. Cheers for now.